of like the chess piece. Obviously, if you're in those pools, you avoid them. So you want to play the teams that you're more familiar with, which are the other global teams. You just kind of get yourself there so that you can get into the top 4, where, of course, there's a little bit more money.
Okay, all right. Business-minded as usual. Understand that? All right, so down to business we will go. Nova against OG. This is a matchup I think a lot of people have been waiting for, that rematch since Season 3 Invitationals.
I think OG more than anything else want this revenge, right? I think they wanted this matchup as much as possible because, like, that one hurt. Right? That was a huge one. The fact that they were 1-3 going into this one, I mean 3-1, they had the potential to take down Nova Esports, who were the eventual champions. Right? You could have been champion. That's pretty much the thought process here.
Yes, history could have been very different, but history, as usual, is always decided by the winners, and today they have that power in their hands.
And we're going to be underway. This is the 4th and final series of the day. Group Kings, who will be number 1? Everything will be at stake for that Pool 1 where you want to be. Nova Esports and OG both undefeated, gone 2-0s across the board, and they're going up against it in this one final series.
So this is an interesting scoreline because someone has to lose here. And I like this movement by Nova. Straight away, they put an advantage for Wendy against Wen in that mid lane. They are starting to make their rotations on the top as a response from the side of OG.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about lineup. I don't think we talk too much about that, but which of these teams are you giving an edge to?
I am giving an edge to OG because I think it is pretty hard to deal with A.L, especially if they manage to play that game, which is, look, taking resources. They're taking the Clash Lane camp on the top, they're taking the space right as well. This is going to increase their rotational speed, open up more room, and once again, feed A.L those singular waves. He's going to have the level advantage against CY.
He's definitely going to have that advantage early, but once CY comes online, that duel of the death, that control is pretty much all you need to potentially burst down A.L, right? So he needs to play safe, and dare I say, they're on a bit of a timer, OG that is.
True, true. But here's my argument point. CY is a single target hero with his ultimate. And I think there's too many members on the side of OG you have to take care of.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot to go on. I mean, how do you deal with this? Do you choose A.L? Do you get onto On? Like, there's a lot of different options in play and how they want to play this, of course. But OG Esports, if we're looking on the other end, you obviously need to get on top of Muchi. Are you able to kind of deal with this Musashi that's going to be bursting in on you?
That's true. I think that's a difficult one, right? Because, oh, hang on, Muchen, he wants to try and make life a little bit difficult. And I feel, look, Muchen has been fantastic on his support role so far. You know, his Liang performance the other day was pretty much spectacular. A grade, right? Or triple S in that case.
Yeah, definitely a triple S. I was like, how are you only giving an A, right? You're being a little too harsh. He had an amazing game on the Liang. And, I mean, he's more than up to the task with this Diadea. And I think that he's going to be way more consistent, dare I say, because Muchen has just so many options to be mobile.
Okay, so let's put the name Muchen aside for a bit. Let's talk about the hero Diadea, right? Massive heals, massive debuffs with ultimate as well. That's an encounter. That big yellow wave, when it crashes down, every target it touches, it gives a heal to its allies and a debuff to the side of its opponents.
Just a huge bonus. And it looks like On is going to have to infinite vastness to stay away. These wolves have been kind of annoying, and OG realizing that, hey, maybe we should protect On as much as possible. Give him a little bit of space.
Yep. They need to open up the map a little more. Now, these two teams are primed at taking big wins off of small moments.
Yeah, Nova Esports here. Juan and Kaka, this is the matchup that we really wanted to look into, especially in this Clash lane. If we're looking at, if you had to make a dream team, like you're creating a new team, which of these Clash laners would you want on yours?
Wow, I don't know right now, Shuin.
They find Wen. They're going to give up first blood. Juan finds him out, gets the kill. Duel of Death, the flash away, and it looks like Keka will be still alive. But he went in for what reason, and CY makes it pay.
Interesting. Is that to buy time? I'm not sure, but that's a big blunder on the side of OG. And Nova, this is a great start.
Yeah, great start for them, and that's exactly how you want to do this. I mean, Keka was going in, and you're kind of questioning, why would he do that? And I think at the same time, C was like, okay, I'll take that free food.
Okay, so time bot, 4 minutes now. It looks like Nova have a decent control of this Tyrant Pit.
Yeah, it looks like they're completely open at this point. Wave Pit is going to be eating some flaming bombs, but it's just space created. Provided that vision, OG really no chance to contest.
I don't think they want to as well, right? Dao, I think the Azure Golem is definitely the #1 prio on his side, because as a Luna, you need that cooldown reduction, you need that mana regeneration as well.
Yeah, and at the same time, CY, I mean, the rest of Nova could be a little bit more aggressive. I mean, you had a numbers advantage, you took the Tyrant. Obviously, getting that timer with that buff is pretty huge, but Muchen getting a little bit low, Muchi makes him pay.
OG, I think it feels like they are tasting a little bit of greed here. 3 kills already to the side of Nova with a 1,000 goal lead.
Yeah, and it looks a little uncharacteristic of OG. We know that they like to play fast, but it seems like they're kind of getting a little bit out of position, and Nova Esports are making them pay every single time.
Yes, that's a lot of payment.
Oh, they go in for KK. They find him. The little damage on top of this one, but do they have enough? The duel of death on back. CY, though, potentially dancing around, and KK is going to be the one that goes down. CY gets killed in return, but Dao now trying to stay alive. He eats an enlightenment, but he's going to get back to the tower and heal up.
So a 1-for-1 trade, but right now, if OG make another mistake, I think Nova is going to be very happy.
Yeah, I think they're going to be happy with the fact that, I mean, OG that is, and at least getting CY one time. I mean, you got to slow him down as much as possible. Dao did survive. You got to get him back in this game.
Okay, but if you compare the farms, Dao is doing better in the farm department than CY. But across the map, Nova having a significant advantage. Team 1 on the bottom, already taken by Muji.
Yeah, 1K net worth lead for Nova Esports. They've been making some great moves. The net worth has been more evenly distributed across the team. CY hasn't been basically funneled everything like Dao has been on the OG side.
Yep, it is an important marker, right? And I think the goal difference might be a big difference maker in the next few team fights. As we hit that 10-minute mark, I think that is where OG will want to turn the game around. But for now, Nova having a vice grip over this lead.
Yeah, and look at how Nova Esports, realizing that they're actually in the lead, they have that advantage, they will be aggressive, putting it on top of the top T1. Nothing OG can do at this stage. Now, the Crimson Golem potentially going to be contesting here. Schwan in a bad spot. He's going to get caught down. Dao makes it pay, but now CY is the next target. He's trying to dash away, but does he get away? Yes, he does. Just barely. No! KK slices him down, chasing him all the way. They find Wendy, and now Waypit on the run. 3 members down from Nova.
Oh, that was a very interesting moment. You could hear the screams of the players. I believe it has to be from OG, and yes, they were screaming for a pause as well.
Yeah, they were looking for one. I mean, the fact that Nova, 3 of the members just going down like that very quickly, I mean, like they were constantly just going on. They found 1 member, and they were looking for the next, and then continuing with that chase.
And this is what's so scary, right? In moments where you feel like, hey, okay, the aggression is over. Ke, he went in as a Charlotte, caught that last hit, because CY, if he made it out of that fight, that would have hurt OG so bad.
Yeah, so close. But the absolute edge, and you know, in terms of that damage and just getting that final blow by KK, just really well played on that one. Think if he missed, right? He would have been in a bad spot. They might have turned on him and killed him instead.
And what's surprising to me is, look, Xuan, he actually dove in first, right?
Yeah.
He was looking for an opening on the backlines, and it felt like a positional error because OG shifted their attention from the top side of the jungle into that mid lane brush where Xuan was at, and it instantly became a 1v5, even though there were Nova members around.
Yeah, I mean, just like that. I mean, Nova Esports were winning. They had about a 1K net worth lead, but with those 3 kills, it will shift back in favor of OG at this point, or if anything, it'll be very close. I mean, that's exactly what you wanted from these 2 teams going at it here.
Okay, I feel like the game is going to be starting soon, but I'm very curious. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard it. Someone was screaming as though their life depended on it, and I can tell that this game matters to both sides. It's regardless of the result in terms of like placements for Pool 1, Pool 2. It's about we want to win this series to show that we're stronger.
I mean, even in the groups or any other casual scrim, I think that there would be a lot of passion between these 2 teams. There's a lot at stake. Dare I say bad blood? Obviously, we're all very friendly. I'm not creating any sort of drama, but these are 2 teams that when they play up against each other, they really want to win regardless of outcome.
And it's not just winning. They want to win with dominance. That's the difference, right? Winning is okay. You can get a win, but you want to show a display of true power. And that is the power struggle battle between OG and Nova at this point.
Yeah, and OG right there coming out of the pause. They take the mid T1, a great spot for them. The net worth lead completely shifting in favor of OG, and now they are in the driver's seat.
Okay, so 1,000, which means there was a 2,000 gold swing going to the side of OG to have this 1,000 gold lead. Now, aren't going to secure this T1 at the bottom. This kind of balances out the advantage that Nova have gotten for themselves in the early parts of this game. So, back to square one.
Yeah, back to square one, but let's talk about DAO. I mean, he's got 2,000 gold lead over CY. He's just been really on point in terms of those steals, and he's literally carrying this game on this Luna that really you cannot be giving to OG.
Exactly, and this is why I felt like OG, they weren't too frazzled by the initial lead by Nova, right? Because if you can't control DAO, it opens up so many windows for players like An, Kirker to jump into important positions to catch out the different members of Nova.
Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much the biggest thing. It's like, yeah, Kirker died a couple times, not the worst thing in the world, especially since DAO was constantly farming. Yes, he's 3-0-1, but he's really bounced back, helped this team get back into a great spot.
Okay, so let's try to put ourselves in the shoes of Nova here. Who do you actually put a duo to the death on?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, you have to go for DAO, I would think, right? Or maybe An, obviously, if he's used his infinite fastness, that's going to be the tough one. When those team fights are happening, everybody has their ults, or DAO is able to get away potentially. But they're looking to go in. Xuan finds them in the brush, but they've been scurried away. They take a lot of damage themselves, and now they're on the retreat.
Yeah, you can hear the screams. OG, they feel like there is an opening available on the Nova lineup. They've yet to find it.
Yet to find it, but they're still up in front. And Nova looking for that ambush. They find DAO, the flash forward, they go for the stun. The unending sorrow all the way up in front, and it looks like Waypit might be in a bad spot. Sorry, Wendy that is. He's going to be backing off at this point, but they're looking to go under the tower. No, Kaka flashes away. Xuan is still going to be there, but An decides to go in, gets the flaming palm onto Xuan. Not yet enough damage. They almost get him very close, and no one had died.
You can see the shimmy, the footsies that they're trying to play, right? Positional advantage is so important to both these teams. They don't over-aggress. And this is what you will start to realize about the top-tier teams as we've filter down to our top 8 here at KWC.
I mean, the biggest thing of that was that, yes, you've pushed them back, but you've created so much space where you're able to take the bottom T2. That's a huge win in the books of OG. Now they're looking to just invade in the enemy jungle. Keka is looking to go in. CY is going to be there, does not want to give up this Azure, but they've got the pullback on a DAO, but the truth is going to hurt, and it looks like Xuan is going to go down first. DAO finds him out. He's got a double already, but Wen and Buchen and An all down for the count. Now Keka and CY fighting 1 versus 1. DAO is there, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to go on. Bucci with a soaring signal. He's going to be flying high. CY right around the wall. Both of these teams, KG, walking around each other, sizing each other up. CY might want to go in for this one, but soaring signal yet again onto Keka. They're not letting him go. Every single time they're on the chase. Bucci making it uncomfortable. Gets the pick off onto DAO with that soaring signal. Continue on, and it looks like Keka will walk away.
I don't think so. Muchi still wants more.
He still wants more. He's going to chase it. Another soaring signal, another dash, and I believe Keke will survive now.
Holy. Okay, so 4 kills for the price of 3. A good offer coming in, and Nova happily obliged. More importantly, this is the 10-minute mark, and Nova have control of the pit for the moment.
Yeah, they have it for now, but Muchen and Wen, they're going to spot this one out. Xuan with another truth, setting it up. They've got 2 members, and it looks like they're going to get them both. Picking them off. Xuan with that play. What an amazing one.
This guy, he is silent. He is very shy, but when he comes to power, you know he's going to be screaming out at you.
Yeah, he was waiting in that brush for that perfect moment for both of them to just be walking around. And now this is Azure Golem. Oh, DAO smites it, but CY takes it. And now OG on the run. They have the unending sorrow, the infinite fastness on back. Keka is being focused. They have the duel to the death, and they want to go. They find Keka, and Nova Esports are looking to dive the tier 2.
They actually ignored it, the T2 in the middle, that is. And of course, now OG struggling to find their pathing. And once again, the swing coming back to Nova Esports. They're leading this time by 2,000 gold.
If you wanted to see how top tier teams are going to play it, this is exactly how you do it. It's back and forth, finding those gaps. OG was back in it, Nova's back in it, and they're finding the right moments to go. Each of these teams want everything here.
Right, so let's take a look at the replay here. A.L started off beautifully, but Xuan was the difference maker because he caught 3 different members on the side of OG. And once the fight started to split off, the big thing here is that Muji was given that safety net to be on the backlines shooting. And when he gets rid of the rest of the team on the side of OG, it's so difficult because Muji is playing with range.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the biggest thing. He's got that, like, that range advantage. He can poke and prod, and that soaring signal, I mean, whenever it's off cooldown, he's going to do some serious damage. So, again, you got to be very scary, but they're looking to go in for this one. Xuan trying to find them with a 3-man stun in return, and they get the initial pick off. 2 members are already down. The unending sorrow continuing on. The infinite fast is on. He doesn't want any of this action, but A.L.'s caught in a bad spot. He somehow dashes away, and he does get to safety, all at the cost of Muji here.
Shut down.
It's not bad, right? I think for the side of Nova, in fact, this is a big situation. Yes, can A.L. turn this? Probably, but it's going to be very risky.
It's going to be risky, and with the minions here, A.L. looking for that searing stab, gets the pull back, but he's going to be fine. Xuan, though, is a little bit on the low side. Nova Esports take the mid T3 at the 13-minute mark.
A.L keeps giving the invitation for a mechanical skill matchup. But Nova is so smart, they say, no, we do not want to entertain your A.L Luna. We will take that T3, we'll make it out safe.
And Nova Esports with yet another blue buff steal, taking it away from the Luna, which A.L is starving for. It really affects his farm. A.L really needs that to get going, but he has the most damage on his team.
Yes, and with that, Muji actually topping him on top of that. So Muji, this is the reason why he's able to do so much. It's because the team is providing him space. CY with the duel to the death. Xuan with those unlimited catches. Every fight starts with Xuan getting a perfect truth. Xuan.
Oh, Xuan walking into this one, finds 2 members of the opposing teams, goes on to KWC. They've got a little bit of control. He's trying to go for the pullback. CY almost with enough damage. He gets up with the duel to the death, slicing him down. And now with this blood rage, and CY trades his life away. A.L deciding to go right back in for this. The unending sorrow from Wendy keeping him alive. He's going to try to pick off Wen, who's a little bit low but does survive. And now Nova Esports sieging, and they will take the top T3.
It's so smart. Okay, so for those of you that are watching, Nova, it feels like they want to push for a fight. They're actually not. They're pushing OG back into the base so that they can take advantage of the Vanguards, helping to hit and take away that backdoor defense.
Yeah, and shepherding them in, getting them out of the way. And on, it doesn't look like he's going to pick up the red buff. Wendy and Muji both having their own variations of those things. And it looks like Nova Esports doing such a great job of pinning OG in.
Yes, and this is exactly what you need to do, right? You need to create space for yourself. Xuan, once again, goes into hiding. Him as a Clash laner, especially as a Dharma, this is so important. Vision control. Now you know where they are, but they don't know where you are.
Yeah, that's the scary part, right? I mean, Nova, and this is why when you have that advantage, you're hiding in those brushes. You have a huge advantage in terms of the vision score. But now here, looking to go in, Xuan with the play, finds him with the truth yet again. How many initiations do you want from this man? Say his name. Xuan with another initiation. A.L's been picked off. On is looking to flash away. He gets under, back into the fountain he goes. The bottom T3 is going to be taken out, and the base is wide open.
Xuan is just playing a completely different game. He is playing a fishing simulator at this point.
Yeah, just setting it up for the rest of Nova Esports to knock them down. KWC and On looking to create the greatest defense ever. Going up against 5 members. They're looking to go in. They get the nice little knockup, but it might be too little too late. They've got KWC. On is back in the fountain. Nova Esports strikes first. They'll take game 1.
There really was no option for the side of OG. And for Nova, looks like their message over the OG is you have not learned your lesson.
Well, I mean, there were some lessons learned today, but there are even more lessons given out by Nova Esports. I mean, that was a classic Nova Esports game if I'd seen any.
Yes, and we don't even need to talk about this later. We know who the MVP is going to be, because if you don't, I think you need to go for some lessons as well.
Yeah, obviously. He was just setting play after play after play, and you'll constantly see him on those highlights. Every single time the action was happening, Xuan was there, setting it up. That perfect truth. And we were wondering, like, how are they going to deal with this Luna? Well, it's like, oh, you got Xuan. He sets it up, and then CY's there to help clean up.
Yeah, one of the important markers here is that we were also asking, right, CY, with that duel to the death, who do you go for? And the question was, we were thinking more of it as an initiation tool, but it's not. It's a finisher tool. They will make Kerker very, very low, and once he's low enough, CY finishes the job with the duel to the death, and then you find yourselves in a very precarious position because as OG, you have now lost multiple members, and Nova always have the manpower advantage.
Look, you were talking about, oh, is it going to be initiator or a finisher? I never said it was going to be initiator. I knew it was going to be a finisher. But look, every single time he was able to just kind of set them up. They had them on the run, and OG really had no answers because they constantly got chased out. DAO with an amazing play on Namuchi there, just salvaging what he could. But man, this game was almost all Nova.
Yes, for sure. And I think the biggest difference maker was the fact that they actually focus on Kerker majority of the time, right? Another member that was always at risk was Wen, because Wen is actually the disruptor on the side of OG. The knockups, the freeze, the destructive deluge, ultimate for Lady Chen. These are all tools that will stop Nova, especially Xuan. So let's get rid of the problems and we will instantly and naturally have the solution. And Nova, they played this to a T.
Everybody, every single hero, every, you know, Chuan with his plays on this Dharma, like CY on this Musashi, just like everybody stepped up, realized what they needed to do to close out a juggernaut that is OG, at least in game one.
Yeah. Is it the best game that we've watched so far?
Okay, I like comeback materials. That's other games, but this one, in terms of just seeing these two titans going at it, and just seeing how they're so back and forth, it's very mechanically sound. It's a fun match to watch.
Yeah,
I like hearing it. I like just like that. I like the commenting. I like the way that the players were talking to each other. I love the communications. It was really loud. Yes. It was very, very loud. If you would be right over here, you would literally feel how the voice of the players, just kind of like the waves, hit you on the bones.
Okay, so interestingly, we were talking about this the other day, and your comment was like, the louder you are, right, you win the game. But today, that wasn't the case. OG wasn't very loud. But I think if you take a look at Xuan's performance throughout the entire game so far, he was so quiet and so calm, composed, and he just went in. You would not think that he was a Dharma.
Yeah. Actually, I feel like that's something that's a weakness in his game. He needs to be louder and yelling and trash talking and just being like this abrasive guy. But that's me. That's just
you just like big personalities, right? Like the louder, the better.
And they provided so much space, right? So Nova Esports, I think one of the very strong things you'll notice in this game is that Xuan makes and creates those moments. You don't expect them. I think that's what OG suffered from, which is they were expecting for certain movements to come from Nova before the plays were actually made, but Xuan did not allow that thought process. He was the one creating moments out of nothing.
I have a question just when we look at the heroes that were played already. When I saw the Luna come out and then I saw the composition from Nova, I thought it was going to be a lot easier for DAO than what it actually ended up being.
It actually exposes the weakness on the side of OG for a Dharma, right? So let's talk about the thought process of a Luna player, right?
Please.
So as a Luna player dives in, what is the one call you will call for your team? What is the call? As a Luna, I dive in, what will you tell your team?
everybody just follow me. Let's go. Let's go together.
Everybody follow me.
Yeah.
And what does the Dharma here? He tears the truth mantra, because the whole team is going to be behind DAO. So to him, he saw that situation even before it was present. That's why I say Xuan, he has a very, very good vision. He created these situations in his mind, but he made it happen because he was waiting for DAO to jump.
So the only thing he needs to wait is just for DAO just to make the decision, then after that he can just reply back with that.
Yes, and to show you how I mean, his intelligence is so high, is you understand the opponent's strength. You know as a Luna, he's going to dive in. And the call immediately after that is, I got in. Guys, back me up. And that was the moment he was waiting for. How many times do you see in this game? He caught Wen, he caught An, he caught Mu Chen. The three members that are supposed to help out with DAO. They don't care about Kerker. It's fine. We get the backline.
Well, Xuan showed us how to play with that Dharma, how to wait, and how to counter that Luna. And that's the reason why he's going to be taking the MVP on that Dharma.
That is not easy to do. 4-2-11. I mean, you're talking about his vision, flawless, right? The ability to be very patient, waiting in the wings, understanding the timing is another thing, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, you see one person, it's like, oh, I'm going to go. But he's like, no, I'm going to wait for them. I'm going to let them come in and group up and have the perfect truth. And he had so much impact on this Dharma.
Patience is key.
Exactly. Patience definitely is key. And I think this is something you'll notice amongst the top 8 teams as you watch their performance. You realize that every role is a role that you can't ignore. Someone on the team will step up, and then your view on the game suddenly changes. Like, you know what? I used to ignore Clash Leaders. I don't care about the Dharma. Now everything is about the Dharma. Okay, we have to watch out for Xuan. And next game, as OG step into it, it's going to be a point of focal for them.
I think that it's going to be difficult for OG to bounce back in this one, because this is the first game that they lose in this whole KWC 2025, right?
Yes.
So it is difficult to jump back when actually Tauta had a Luna pick in front of something that looked like the whole script was set up for him to be successful.
I mean, everything was trying to be. I mean, this is a team that revolves around DAO's play.
Yeah.
So I understand. You got to get your superstar going, right? I think that it's really smart for any team to do that, especially in this stage. But Nova Esports know that same thing. They have that same information, and they're able to kind of counter that, not only with the draft, but also with execution. Nova Esports, flawless on that one.
And here's what's so beautiful about this game. Because, sure, we have expanded the Luna on OG, right? They have expanded the Musashi on Nova. But you know that their hero pools are so vast, so deep, that this is a completely different story. Forget game 1. Game 2 is another big monster to tackle.
There are so many combos that are still out there, that are still available. And let's remember, this is a best of 3.
Yeah.
It is not even like it's a best of 5, best of 7, when you need to actually think a lot about this. It's just like my meta against your meta, and let's see who's stronger.
Yeah, and I mean, going into this one, it looks like the MKL one was a little bit stronger today. Nova Esports, again, proving why that they're the champions. They are the top dogs. They're able to kind of make OG look mortal here.
Yes, and that is so interesting, because as we go on later parts of KWC, every strong team will have their weakness revealed by someone.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, look, I wonder who's going to make Nova Esports kind of quiver, or dare I say, or kind of find some of those weaknesses. Because right now, Nova Esports is running the table, and they've been making every team really respect them.
Right, you'll find out next week. We'll see you guys. No, I'm just kidding. It is going to be the first pick coming in, our lead. This time, the focus switch. You know what? We gave Xuan a perfect start to this game. Let's start off with Muji this time.
Yeah, I mean, starting strong, right? Letting him just kind of get going as well. And I mean, I think it was a really good channel play, like in terms of how they executed, ensuring that they used the channel to the maximum and kind of whittled down OG Esports. I mean, they had a great draft. I think if you're looking at that draft, you're thinking 9 times out of 10 that OG Esports would win, but Nova Esports are like, no, here's the counter.
Exactly. Like it's a different thought process, but then it's not just about, you know, the tools you have, it's how you use it, right? And I feel Nova Esports just understands the game a little bit better than OG, at least in game number 1. Now, Nova Esports, they choose to ignore the potential of stealing away the Princess Frost to spoil that combination for Liang. They look at the counterplay instead. So it's a Mai Shiranui and a Liu Bang. Global presence once again.
Yeah, very strong 1-2 punch here. It's like, okay, you're going to control the Mai. Boom. Liu Bang is just going to be right on top of them. And it also protects the Arlie as well. There's a lot of potential shielding that can happen here. Plus, Liu Bang, to a certain degree, can be flexible, as it can be Clash or Roam in this case.
And you will be kind of scared on the side of OG, right? Do we ban out the Lianpo or not? Do you give that option? Because the support role is still open for Nova Esports. How smart is the coach on Nova's side?
It's very good in terms of the drafting. And again, you're kind of like, where are these guys going to go? Obviously, the Arlie in the farm, Mai in the mid, that's a given. But the Liu Bang is kind of flexible. So you're looking on the other end. OG Esports is like, yeah, we got the combination, Princess Frost and Liang, but you were talking about the Lian Po. If that were to be taken, that has proven to be quite a difficult counter for potentially this combination here.
Which is why OG bans out the Agudo. Agudo is a jungle. If they build tank for this lineup for Nova Esports, I'm pretty sure the Lian Po will come through for the side of Nova. Look, you already have a decent, a very hard time dealing with them in the early game because of the Mai, and if you give away kills to the RLE, they are going to snowball really fast. But what happens when you have the Agudo, Lianpo, and a Liu Bang combination coming in? You can't break that defense.
Yeah, it would be slow sieging, and they would just be able to constantly be up front. And right now, the biggest thing about OG Esports is like, there are some juicy targets in the Arlie and the Mai. The Jing is looking to just fly directly at those, like a homing missile, potentially just bursting them before they have an opportunity to even get going. But now it's in the same way, Jing, on the other hand, kind of the squishier type. If there were some nice CC by Nova Esports, he might have a bad time.
They need more burst damage, right? This is one of the reasons why Fang is banned on the side of Nova Esports. Not only does Fang offer the very quick turret takes, also big burst damage, which OG Esports at this point is lacking. Yes, Jing is a burst potential, but they're so squishy. And we have seen in games earlier today, you can bait the Jing deeper into your backlines and have everyone just give him a blanket party.
Yeah, definitely. It's all about that, right? But looking at that and picking up the Chano here, laning phase against the Arlie. What are your thoughts?
I like it. Once again, I stand by that viewpoint that Chano is a very strong farm laner, especially for heroes that can't do with very good wave clear, right? If wave clear is not your strength, Arlie is a 1v1 machine. It's a pretty big monster, but against Chano, it's never a 1v1.
Yeah, it never really is, right? And so he's obviously going to be supported by somebody here, but it looks like the picks are underway. The Dune of the Zhangfei, adding some body size, like a bodyguard, and some stuns to add on to this one. Potentially going in is like, hey, Jing, you're going to go to the back line, find 3 of our biggest dudes.
Yep, so Nova Esports right now are playing a very smart draft. I like their draft so much. They have 3 different tanks coming in, the Liu Bang, the Dun, and the Zhangfei. How are you supposed to fight against that, even if you have Princess Frost and Liang Qi control, but you can't kill them fast enough?
Yeah. And this is kind of like the counter. And why, I mean, look, you're going to probably have to isolate and try to get that jungle pick as soon as possible for DAO to get him going. But the Mulan pick, your thoughts on this one? I mean, Keka likes to play it, right?
Okay, Mulan, very versatile, able to get quite a bit of burst damage, but it requires a little bit of timing as well. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to beat Nova, because once again, I think the weakness on the side of OG is also their strength. Princess Frost and Liang combination, it's a level 4 power spike. It's pretty early in the game. Unless they can stop the Mai, maybe, at the early parts of the game?
Yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to have to see this one. I mean, it's not going to be the easiest task, especially since Wendy is piloting the Mai. Very adept on this hero. It's not going to be an easy ask.
Definitely not, because there's so many different combinations you can do. Look, Xuan has an option. He can choose CY. He can use his battlefield command to jump on his jungle because of the entrance and exit available for this Dun. He can also follow Wendy, coupled with the knockup from the Ryu engine. You could also go with Wave Pit after he releases that Unbridled Owl, but so many different options, and it's all aggressive yet defensive at the same time.
Yeah, it's all about protecting the Wendy, Muchi, like the 2, right? Those are the squishier 2. Yes, they're going to do a ton of damage, but this is a really well-rounded draft. I mean, yes, the jump-in might happen. If we're looking at the OG side, who's kind of going to take the punches at the end of the day if they get jumped on?
That's a big question, which in this particular game, it feels like, okay, Keke has to be the one. And OG's game plan here, aggression, offense is the best defense. But in order to do that, you need to have the goal lead. And goal lead is not going to come easy with this lineup. They have already fed Muchi that mid lane wave. Now he's down here farming the Firebeak.
Yeah.
And it's not looking good.
It's not looking good at all. I mean, even if when Muchin hits level 4, obviously they're going to be looking to make some ganks across the map. But once Nova Esports gets to that critical mass where they're tanky enough, they have a decent enough amount of counter initiation that can kind of counter this play. So OG Esports, if anything, they need to play fast. They need to ensure that they have a great early game and to get those pickoffs.
They definitely need it, right? So one of the things you'll notice about Nova is that they're starting to parade around as a trio in the jungle. This is to share EXP and gold. And more importantly, they leave Muchi alone to farm. And for the first, until you hit level 4, you can't exactly catch Muchi, right? Muchin is not going to have a good time.
Yeah. And he just needs levels himself, right? He needs to kind of mooch off as much as possible, just try to get him to the quick 4. Then you want to start making plays. But if you're looking at the rest of the OG lineup, Jing kind of, I mean, DAO kind of wants to be left alone. He wants to be farming. Yes, the potential pickoffs can happen, but you don't really have that, like, you know, gank squad available.
Exactly. And DAO, I think, if they ever make the mistake, OG, of giving, hang on.
Oh, the Ryu engine, the battlefield command is going to be expended as well, but no real potential onto when they're going to be backing off. And look at how they're protecting that blue buff as much as possible for OG.
They have to. DAO on the Jing, you require the Azure buff. If you don't have it, you are expending too much mana, you will not be able to fight for long.
Yeah, but with everybody growing or sticking together, I mean, this is space across the map for the rest of the lanes to kind of push, and it looks like that might be a detriment as Nova Esports can fully utilize the map.
It benefits Nova so much because you have 3 tanks on your team.
Like, pick your poison. Like, who do you go on? Obviously, Muchi is going to be target number 1, but then Wendy's kind of there as well. And then you're looking at some 3 beefy boys. Not going to be the easiest task for OG, but if anything, this is a lineup. If they get going all offense and they're able to get some pickoffs and then end the game early, this is probably the best strategy for them.
I don't think Nova is a team that will allow it, right? Look, my viewpoint here has been the same since this draft started, which is I don't think OG has enough damage. And if you talk about, hey, you know what, just buy some time, they can't buy time.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really more of like OG Esports trying to dictate the pace, being aggressive. The Ruined Engine with a nice little pushback. The unbridled Doppers on top of this. They find Mucha, kick and went, looking to limp away. DAO somehow surviving as well. He dodges the Kachusen. He will be fine, but only 1 member down. But that was, of course, first blood.
Beautiful gameplay by Nova. This is how you stretch your advantage across the map. Ooh. And look, once again, what can you do as OG? You're so soft.
Yeah, soft, squishy, not great. Look, you want to be that hardened guy, but here comes the leader stance. They want to protect this blue buff as much as possible. This is going to be a huge one, but with that wind slash, CY takes that on out, and they walk away scot-free.
Yeah, this is not looking okay.
Oh, they found it. DAO was looking for this potential steal with that mirror domain. He was a little upset, but CY's got the buff. He's not going to be an easy target to take down.
I mean, Wendy is the most vulnerable in this entire lineup if you take a look at Nova. If you really have to open up a kill for the side of OG, it has to be Wendy, because I don't think you will ever catch Muchi out on the lineup of OG unless you have the vision control.
Yeah, and Muchi's just like his positioning, his game awareness is like understanding where they're going to be. Like Waypit will be doing the face checking in that brush, but here's the control, the battlefield command completely negating that attempt.
Exactly. So where is the damage? Nova, this is such a smart draft coming out from Orange.
It's such a great draft, and now this is going to open things up. The Tyrant is going to be started, but like you've lost control. You just got your leader stance back onto On. There's really no way to even contest this Tyrant here.
And this is where the strength of Wendy will come through, because Wen is at level 6. When you have a level advantage on a mine, you have the item advantage as well. It's going to be a tough time because the instant burst potential is so high.
Here's the Umbrella Outburst onto On. He goes for the Stampede, but with that leader stance, he's going to just be backing off. CY in the enemy jungle, not scared, looking to go for those steals as much as possible. Nova Esports putting the aggression on, knocking on the doorstep in that regard. But here we go. Looks like Waypit, he's going to be very low, somehow barely getting alive, but here's the Battlefield Command. Muchin is going to be killed first, and they try to go for Wen, who's going to be dodging things, but he does go down in the end. CY finds him, but the mirror domain onto Waypit wants to get that single kill, and they do. It's a 2-for-1, but now DAO in a bad spot. Does he get away? No. Muchi takes him down.
You can't. And once again, because of this overcommitment, the Azure Golem now at risk of being taken by Nova Esports. CY here does not have the smite, doesn't even need it. So OG, once again, they find themselves even deeper down that goal gap.
Yeah, and Nova Esports playing perfectly here, just being aggressive, winning those team fights, and then turning them into like the blue buff or objectives. And OG right now really struggling to find their footing.
And we talked about this. So Kirker on this Mulan, what is he trying to achieve here, right? One of the potential options he can explore is actually to try and stop Xuan from using his global ultimate, lock him in place whenever that combination of the Liang and Princess Frost combination is used. But for now, because of the way that they have played the map, now that the map is so much more open for Nova, yes, it's just a T1 in the bottom, but this provides so much freedom for Muchi to just run rampant.
Yeah, just run rampant and just continue to farm. He's he's been outclassing thus far, staying alive. But, you know, Xuan has been on point with his battlefield commands. He's had so many saves already, and it's only 6 minutes in the game. And now A.L. looking to just potentially just deal with the minion waves more than anything else with this mirror domain, and he will take them out. The T1 will hold.
Okay, that's a decent defense, but they need a little bit more than decent at this game for OG. They need something spectacular because Nova has been on point.
Nova Esports cutting the creeps on top. That's going to create a little bit more pressure. A.L. is there looking to rotate. And this mid T1 is technically under siege in this sense. It's going to be very uncomfortable to get out of this one.
Look, everyone, they're gathering. They want to find out Kaka. At the same time, they keep their options open. They're consistently looking for pressure across the map.
They want to steal the blue buff every single time, make it a contest, make it uncomfortable. Here's the umbrella outburst, but who takes the blue? They're going to continue on. They push him back, they find him, and it looks like Keka is in a bad spot, but he will limp away as well. But Nova Esports taking the buff and making their way on out of there.
The graveyard has been dug here. Muji, the one responsible for taking the Azure buff. And see why does he really care? He doesn't, because his own Azure Golem is coming up soon, and it's all about putting pressure.
Oh, the Rue engine, he goes in with the battlefield command. They find on, they get the pick off, and that's a massive win for them. The Crimson Golem is going to be picked up as well. Nova Esports hitting on all cylinders.
I think we forgot the second half, or the first half of Nova's name. It's called the Super Nova, and the flames are too hot for OG to handle.
Too hot, too difficult, I mean, too fast at this point. OG trying to do what they can, trying to slow down the game. They're down about 3K. I mean, A.L. hasn't really gone online because he just doesn't have any space.
And the biggest difference here is, look at Wendy, he's almost twice the gold net worth and in comparison to Wen. And this means he's able to dish out quite a lot of pain. Look, Savant's Wrath at 8.5 minutes. This is a great timing for Wendy.
Yeah, Wen is like, change it, get rid of the stats, get rid of the stats. You know, I don't want to do that. I want to pretend like I'm doing okay. But here's the Unruly Blade. CY goes all the way in the front. He's very tanky boy. It's going to be tough. But the mid T1 still holding for OG. They have at least a glimmer of hope.
There is a very soft glimmer at this point, but you also have to take note the T3 at the top is open for the taking if Nova makes the correct play.
Tyrant picked up already. Unruly Blade by CY. A.L. is on the retreat. They're going to take what they can, take that away from Nova Esports, who are looting and pillaging their jungle.
Kaka.
Yeah, Kaka, they find him. The battlefield command right on top of this one, and Kaka flashes over the wall, but Waypit is looking to push him back, but he's going to go with the Umbrella Outburst to pushing him on the tower. He's going to miss the Stampede. Muchen, it doesn't really matter. They're going to dive the tower. Nova Esports, so strong, finding A.L. as well. 2 members down from OG.
They divide and conquer, and look at the way that Nova are playing. So Wendy gives vision, he pushes them back. And this is so exciting because the 3 tanks, normally you expect them to be doing this job. So for Wendy to do it, this is...
And they find Wen, who's trying to flash, but he gets Kachusin and he gets sliced down, but they trade away Waypit. He's going to be going down. Kaka is still up in front, finds Wendy, the wind slash, and it looks like CY in a bad spot. On gets the shutdown.
You know what, Nova? I don't think they really can. Muji is still alive. He has access into the neutral objectives at this point. He can actually take the Tyrant by himself, but it's unsafe. It's a risk not worth taking.
But
so,
yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so for now, I really still don't see. OG, where is this window?
But it's still not a great trade. Letting 3 members of Nova Esports die, not a situation you want to be. You don't want to give OG anything, and it looks like OG are going to take this Tyrant because, again, 3 members down.
Okay, 3 members down. That's a numbers advantage. So OG, they get a, I would say, a present from Nova. But what can they do with this freebie that has been given?
Well, look, they turned it into a Tyrant and a mid T1. You never want to give the enemy team anything. And Nova Esports, it looks like they've given that. They were very aggressive. Unfortunately for them, I mean, OG paid them with their lives.
Okay, let me paint the picture for you now. In the mid lane, Wendy has a 3,000 goal lead against his counterpart Wen, and Muji has a 1,000 goal lead against An. Once again, there's 3 tanks on the side of Nova.
While true, Wendy, very squishy, could be potentially bursted down. On looking for the potential steal. The Overlord, CY takes that, but the Frigid Prison, it looks like they've got the lockdown on the Waypit. That's going to be pretty huge. But the Battlefield Command right on top of CY, who gets sliced down. On trying to run away, but he's kiting away. Xuan turns it around, decides to go with the Soaring Signal, gets the sniping, and 3 members down, trading away only 2 from OG.
Muji
But now Mucci in a bad spot. It looks like he's going to be picked off as well. And OG making them pay for these mistakes that Nova's making.
Yeah, Dream OG. At this point, I think it's okay. It's not a big comeback yet. They have just relieved the pressure. 10-9, but when he dies here, it's a bad situation.
Oh, he's just a dash. That was the great escape. He somehow gets back to safety, but the mid T2 going down and break this replay down.
Okay, so the important marker here is the fact that they got the Zhang Fei down. That's one tank down. And the fact that they could plan the frigid prison to prepare the welcome for Xuan. That was a big difference maker. When your tanks are down, and so what if Mucci gets the kill? You're alone. And with the burst damage from Dao, they can easily get rid of Mucci. So it's really, hey, you identify your win conditions and make sure you achieve it.
Yeah, look, this net worth lead is next to nothing, right? OG, in my opinion, they've gotten that momentum. They still have their T3s. They're definitely not out of this, and dare I say, they're in control. They've bounced back. They found ways to get back in. If you're looking at Dao and CY, he has that edge. Yes, the mid lane, Wen hasn't had a great game, but still, Wendy is a squishy mid laner. If he gets caught out a single time, he just dies.
That's true. And I think one of the important success tools that they have gotten on the side of OG is they have managed to stop Wave Pit for that one time. Because in the early parts of the game, it was always because of the consecutive lockdowns that Nova offered that OG couldn't handle that pressure.
Yeah, actually, you're absolutely right? And the fact that they were focusing on Wave Pit, they bursted him down. They start the fight 5 versus 4. They have a huge advantage because you have no Umbrella Outburst, you have no extra tankiness. And if you're looking at Wendy and Mucci, very squishy.
Yes, you as a player on the side of Nova, if you take the position of Xuan, ideally you want to use your ultimate and have the time to think about, okay, what is the next play here, right? Do you get the stun? Who am I supposed to stun? But in the moment of chaos where you don't have a backup, nobody stops Muchin on his ultimate, it's a lost cause. You lose.
Yeah. And that's why he needs to be very careful. I mean, if Muchen is able to get those controls off, which he's apt to do, he's incredibly scary on this Liang. You got to be super careful with how this team fights goes. The
nice
flash
jump.
away, they're going to try to focus on Muchen. The Umbrella Outburst with that pushback. Here's the battlefield command. Muchen running for his life, but Muchi's already been killed. It looks like An and Wen also down for the count. Wendy just trying to stay alive. He's going to be backing off, but Wave Pit's still out front. This is a huge win. 3-for-1 favor in favor of Nova.
So Nova, once again, playing their cards right? Who do you get rid of?
Oh, Kuka, the flash away by Xuan, and Kuka just going ham, trying to go solo on this one, and just to give their team a little bit of space.
Look, this situation will not present itself too many times in the later parts of this game. Every single time your trio of main control and damage dealers are down on the side of OG, you don't win any of these fights. But Kaka, he's trying his best.
Oh, he's gonna go for the jump. He finds CY. That's not really the target. There's just too many juicy boys in that sense. But Wendy was a potential target. He was not able to find it. Dao on the chase. Might even go for Wave Pit. No, he just wants his blue buff.
It's like taking a fork and trying to scrape off the entire block of cheese. That's what he's doing on the side of Kaka to CY. He can't deal too much damage.
Yeah, it seems like you're doing that you're talking about for your person. Oh, here we go. The Umbrella Outburst finds Muchen. He gets the connection, the pushback. They find Wen, this wind slash right on top, but Wendy's gonna trade away his life. The mirror domain is bouncing around, and Xuan running for his life. He does have the shields. He turns it around, and he says, "What's up, Dao?" as he slams him to the ground.
Yep. Every single time, it's a trio of kills going to the side of Nova. Yes, this time they got onto Wendy, but still, if you don't deal with the 3 tanks, Xuan, CY, as well as Wave Pit, you don't win this fight. There's too much control, and An has no space to find an opening.
No space, no time to just do that consistent damage that you want, but the fact that they were able to find Wendy, I mean, that's a small window of opportunity for them.
Exactly, and it looks, it's really about spoiling your opponent's composition and timing. Muchen, time and time again, he gets his ultimate down first, but the response from OG is not fast enough, not because they're not good, but because Wave Pit is saving his ulti for these moments.
Yeah, and look, you also have CY as well, right on top if they're deciding to go for that control. You have different ways to kind of mitigate what he brings. This is a good counter draft that Nova Esports executing.
And Nova is a team that when they make one mistake, they tend to not make that same mistake again. So OG, once again, backs against the wall. This is a difficult position to be in. There is a little bit of breathing room because they got that Shadow Overlord, but it is Nova's game to lose.
So they're not like my ranked teammates, where they make the same mistake at least 5 to 10 times in the single game.
I feel like you're talking about me, and yes, they are not.
Yes, I'm talking about you. You made the same mistake 17 times. But here we go. OG Esports looking to put the aggression on, trying to take over the map. Waypit, potential target. He needs to be a little bit careful here. But Nova Esports on the defensive now.
I mean, maybe KWC should try and look for Wendy or just get rid of Xuan. Someone needs to stop the combination coming from Nova. They have not found that opening just yet.
Haven't found it, but Juan doing a great job of split pushing in the top lane. He can bounce in whenever he wants, but if anything, it's all about these buffs, taking as much farm as possible. I mean, this lead has dwindled. Nova Esports still up though, but the map control has shifted in favor of OG.
Okay, OG, this is a moment of reprieve, right? They're looking for an opening, but it's so hard when you have to play against 3 tanks. Waypit is happy to tank. He has a lot of itemization to help him with this.
Yeah, the barrier will slow him down. OG looking to just tactically retreat at this point, looking for the opportunity. Who's going to be jumping out in front? All of them have backed up, but they know that, hey, they cannot be giving up their jungle on the way back.
Okay, it's a healthy sign for OG fans here. An is actually able to do quite a bit of damage against Waypit. Now, for Nova fans, this is about whether Nova can take that T3.
If they can. I mean, the sieging is not going to be easy for them, right? Being able to go in. OG have a decent amount of wave clear. They're able to just whittle down those minions, but they find Wen. This is going to be a huge start. The flash away, the battlefield command on board. They find Wen. He's going to be picked off. The Unbridled Outburst pushing him back. Do they get anything else? The wind slash right onto Keka, but he's immune at this point. But here comes the Blood Rage. CY staying alive. Down, but going in with that Mirror Domain. Doing some serious damage, but he's not able to get any kills. On his solo. He's on the retreat, trying to stay alive. Muchen has been killed, and now Keka looking to turn this. Dow gets picked off. On is going to be there, but here's the Sage's Sanctuary on, and it looks like Keka will fall as well as On. It's a matter of time. Wendy is still up in front. Sage's Sanctuary trading in the crystal at this point. On will stay alive, at least for now.
That was not what Nova wanted. They wanted to trade all of these kills to be able to put pressure on a T3 and break an opening into the base of OG. Right now, it is still a possibility because it is on his own, but Wood has just respawned.
Yeah, and Nova Esports are like, bro, I don't even want to fight. I just want your towers. Just get out of the way. And OG are like, no. We're fighting this to the bitter end. We're going to find ways to do all the damage. We're going to get some sort of pick off and get ourselves back in this game. But this net worth lead is shifted completely in favor of Nova Esports.
Yep, definitely at this point. Now, I think we have to place focus on Wen. I think if Wen stays alive in these engages, he can turn the fight for the side of OG because control is definitely what they need against the lineup of Nova, right? We've seen the difference being made when Wen actually gets the lockdown. This fight went really badly for them because Wen actually dropped his Winter Azure at the spot that he thought Nova was going to be at, and it was a lack of damage. It was lucky for OG that they survived this, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it was going to be a team ace in that regard. On just barely staying alive, but they were looking to dive, and it seemed like Nova Esports are like, just like, yo, just be a little bit more patient. I think that you're going to be fine in the end, but this Tempest Dragon could potentially come into play here.
This is a big moment, right? Nova, they actually had a very significant lead, but OG held on. They have managed to play it safe, maintain their tier 3s. In fact, it's the tier 3 on the top for Nova that's looking a bit risky.
Actually, that's the craziest part about all of this. I mean, OG have been losing for quite some time, but they've been able to keep themselves alive with those T3s. But On getting focused in, he does barely get away, but here's the control. But Dowdow's already been picked off, and that's a massive win for them. Juan is going to be trading away, and they find Wendy. They decide to go in. They know that they're still very strong. Keka is looking to go over the wall, but with 2 members down from Nova Esports, this is a potential opportunity for OG to take more off the map.
This is a rare mistake, Muchen. He's going to have his ultimate very, very soon as well. The cooldown at late game is very fast for Liang.
They're looking to just push them back. Keka over the wall, tries to find CY. Here's the control you were talking about, and they do have the damage, and CY has been taken out. 4 members strong, continuing on. OG looking for Waypit. They want to go for Muchi. That's going to be the prime target, the prize. He goes in. This is Sage's Sanctuary, but how does he survive 1 versus 4? Not going to happen today.
He does not, and OG, they're coming back. Do they really want to start this? Dowdow, he is just respawned. He's going to try and make time, because right now, there is CY and Muchi down on the side of Nova for the next few seconds.
Yeah, they're making it work at this point, but it looks like the Tempest Dragon, not too risky at this point. Wendy, Juan, Waypit, all making moves towards that pit, and OG don't want any of that action, especially since they're a little on the low side, but now they're going to look to start it.
Okay, this is a monumental moment. CY is going to respawn right now. Can he make it in time?
Can he make it? I mean, Muchen with those barriers, a lot of zoning. It doesn't look like they're going to contest, and the Tempest Dragon goes the way of OG, the first of the series.
Okay, so first of the series, I believe there will be many more, but only if Nova holds on to the T3 at the top. That is probably the opening that OG is looking at.
Could we have asked for a better series? Well, I mean, we knew that they were going to go back and forth, but the fact and the way that OG were able to bounce back, giving themselves an opportunity to really take it to Nova Esports, now with this Tempest Dragon buff, how do they proceed?
Sage's Sanctuary. That is the most important item. A lot of members have already burnt it out from both sides. We're left with the Splendor. Wendy needs to time this item very, very well.
Yeah, and it looks like the siege is underway. They're doing a little bit of pressure on that top T3. The mid lane has been covered, but the top T3 down, they're looking to go. Wendy trying to go in for this one, but with that Battlefield Command, it's not going to be enough. Here's the Sage's Sanctuary for Schwan. He's going to go down. Oh, the stun, the Umbrella outburst is going to be on point, but Waypin trades his life away. It's a double kill going the way of Han. Make it a triple, and OG Esports coming back from the depths of hell to potentially end and even the series here. They're going to take the mid T3 all the way up in front. How does Wendy and Muchi hold? They have the Crystal and OG focus fire. They're looking to go, pad the stats, and they go and they equalize in this series.
They come back. OG, what a way to do it. The story lives. And OG, my goodness, what a game from them.
What a great game. I mean, just being able to come back in the way that they did it, the never say die attitude. And you're kind of thinking, hey, this isn't even an elimination game, but it felt like it. Because when we go to that group draw and they want to be in that first pool, this is that game.
This is a Nova that we don't really get to see often, right? Look, they had a very strong start to this game. They found out their solution, right? They got rid of Muchen, they got rid of Wen, and they got rid of An. The three members on the side of OG kept falling down in the first half of this game. But they held on to the T3s, and they always managed to get those turnarounds only when Wen was alive. To me, in this game for OG, yes, I think A.C.T played great. Kerker was a monster in getting the CCs, but it was also because of Wen, the Frigid Prison, the winter is here. These are the important moments. He had a horrible start to this game against Wendy.
Yeah, but it's all about how you finish. I mean, I think you talk about that all the time. It's not about how you start, it's about how you finish and all that. Coach can speak right there, but this is that moment where they were starting to dive, and with three members down, I was like, hey, remember I questioned it? I was like, this is too risky. Why are you taking this play? And it completely shifted the game, because OG Esports, with those T3, they were able to repel many a siege.
So it's really a situational awareness, I think. And Nova, I think, for the first time in a long time, Nova got impatient.
Yeah. I mean, they saw the finish line. They thought they could make a sprint, a dash for it. But OG were like, no. Not just here. Leashes them back, ensures they get it. And look, everybody stepped up from OG. Like, they had to have made those perfect plays. They were losing the game, but they were able to be very resilient.
That last moment, could you blame them? It was just one singular member left on, and he was so low. And this was like the butterfly effect, right? Wendy burned off his double Sage's Sanctuary charge at that moment. And that led to this big turnaround where it was a stagger of kills. This is why OG had a successful run, because they staggered the death timers of Nova.
Yeah, they did such a great job. I mean, if they come in one by one, but sometimes it's not by choice in that regard, but OG being able to bounce back the way that they did so, I mean, just really stuck it to Nova Esports. They're like, hey, you got to lead, but can you close out the game against us?
Exactly. I think this is a great game for you to review. You know, I mean, this is all on our 4 different social media platforms. Take a look at the games and really study, because there are little things that Nova did that got them the win, right? The target prio for them was so clean. It won them the first half of the game, but it kind of lost that momentum the moment they started diving, like you said.
Yeah, they were diving way too much. I mean, I think Nova Esports, again, you were talking about impatience. It just didn't seem like the typical Nova Esports with the clean, calculated movements.
Yes.
And they were just like really forcing it. I think that they needed just like, hey, the coach needs just to talk to them and just be like, calm these guys down and understand that, hey, if we got a winning game, let's just go slow and steady.
I mean, there's no other way we will have this series, right? It has to be a 1-1 scoreline, and we need to take a look at the stats here. One important thing, let's start with Nova first, right? Take a look at the damage by Wendy. Wendy was one of the reasons for their success in the early parts of the game. 29% of the team's hero damage, 119K. Because Wendy always found the 3 members on the side of OG. This was aided by the ultimate of Wave Pit, the ultimate of CY, and the ultimate of Shen. It was a trio combination that worked in perfect synchronization to catch out OG. But that only works in the early parts of the game because they are squishy.
Yeah, and if you're looking at these stats here, I mean, look at Wendy and Muchi both over 100K, but 4 members of OG with over 100K damage. They were doing some serious damage, and yes, we questioned, are they able to survive? And they're like, actually, if we just go all in on the offensive side, we're gonna be fine because we're able to just like weather through all of these tanky guys.
It's all about the unfair advantage. This is why this draft is so scary. The combination of Princess Frost and Liang, if left undisrupted, then it's kind of like, hey, you're gonna stand there and take the punches from OG. And to be honest, I think once again, I still hold a stand. They don't really have a lot of damage. They just had a lot more time to deal damage.
Yeah, and if we're, again, looking at this OG lineup here, I mean, Wen died 6 times, Muchen died 7 times, constantly being focused. But Kaka with those plays, 7, 1, and 10. I know you don't care about KDA, but he was making some serious plays. He was always on the front line, doing his AoE damage, and just making, like, he was creating so much havoc.
Okay, so, you know, I want to talk about Dao, I want to talk about Wen, I want to talk about, Muchen, because the 3 of them prove my point. No, KDA does not matter. It's about how you play the game.
You know who I want to talk about?
Let me guess.
I want to talk about Ann. Ann is going to be our MVP for this game. The one thing that happened in there that allowed OG Esports to turn things around was the fact that Ann just kept farming again and again and again. And by the end of it, no one could stand in front of him. No one.
It's a difficult position to be in because, okay, for the newer players, it's a very simple concept for you, right?
Yeah.
Look, the team buys you time, they buy you farm, you get the damage in. But, you know, An had a very horrible experience at the start of this game. He got taken out multiple times, twice, which as a farm laner, that's too much.
Well, that is a problem, but you can always turn it around. One of the things that I want to talk about is Nova. Nova Esports came in, and they looked like they jumped over the high ground turrets too many times.
Yeah, too many times. I mean, they were trying to make the plays, and again, it was the whole impatience thing. They were going for kills more than anything else. And again, we need to rein them in and be like, hey, not only do you need to calm down, but you need to focus on those towers. How long did those... I mean, I don't think a single T3 was taken. So yeah, they had that assault. Yeah, they had that offense, and you had that lead. But without those T3s, there's no push. Right, so you need that, especially in that mid game, to put more pressure onto OG.
I feel like they just jumped into high ground, and then the waves were not even there.
Exactly.
There was a 1-to-1 battle that they had right over next to the crystal. All the tier 3 turrets were still there. The waves were in the mid lane. They were not even close. They were just next to the river. And why we're jumping in? We lost a resurrection right over there, and then that resurrection, we needed it later on in the game.
Yeah, it seemed like the first 10 or so minutes is like classic Nova Esports. Very calculated. It's systematic with their movements, understanding how they need to play. But then once that mid-game hit, it was kind of like, wait, who is this team? Like this Nova Esports, these are uncharacteristic mistakes that they're making, just really being impatient, which we've never really seen from Nova Esports.
I think that you mentioned it in a very interesting way. When you are really close to the end line, you really start just pushing faster and running faster and running faster, and it looks like they just ran out of steam in there.
Yeah, so it's going to be like the tortoise and the hare type of thing at this moment, right? Of slow and steady will win you the race. I understand that, hey, maybe you got dinner plans or something and you want to end the series as quickly as possible, but you got to ensure that when you have that advantage, you got to make sure you take it, because OG Esports are looking for any mistakes, and they took advantage of all of them.
I want to take the opportunity for you guys to explain something to the audience. We saw the Mulan pick in there, and that's a pick that we have not yet seen in the KWC 2025. I've heard that it's a very difficult hero to play. Can you break down a little bit of the mechanics of that Mulan?
Okay, so Mulan actually has 2 states, or 2 stances. One with a greatsword and one with the flurry blades, or martial arts blades, whatever you call it, right? So, of course, the one where she's charging her move, that is her big burst skill set, which is the use of the greatsword. When she changes her move, she's actually much more mobile. She has an extra dash, and she can throw a dagger out into the open as well. That is exactly what they used against Nova to be able to lock down the tanks and push him under the tower, which is why turrets were so important for the side of OG.
I mean, the biggest thing is that KWC is like an absolute maestro on this hero. He will, like, he was in the one-on-one battle that he was challenging everybody with this Mulan pick. Even against ranged farm laners. Like, he's totally comfortable with it, understands how to play the actual limits of this hero, and I think he's going to be one of one in terms of this Mulan pick here.
Okay, so Mulan pick, that was a great idea, but now I want to talk about a potential problem that I see for the BPs of Nova Esports. They expended 3 very big tanks in this game. You're left with a Lianpo. And if you really want to go like tank, maybe you can go for a Nerja jungle, but this time it's Nova playing that squishy lineup.
Yeah, you know what? I wonder if they went with a Lian Po instead of like the Zhang Fei. They might have had more impact in that game because the amount of stuns with those burst ramps where everybody's kind of congregating and the tremor smashes are much easier then, right? You have more stuns as opposed to the Zhang Fei, which is like that one initial boost. Yeah, you have the Stampede and things like that, but you have more stuns quicker.
More consistent, reliable stuns, right?
Fine,
I agree.
fine.
I was kind of confused at like, why would you not pick a Lianpo? But of course, once again, there's a reason why we're on the test and not on that stage. But we will trust in the coaches, Andy and Orange, for OG Esports and Nova Esports respectively. Now, OG, this has been one of the A.G.A.L specials, the Allgrin coming in, and with the help of Byron, this is a tanky front line to take care of. Nova Esports, they respawn with the Agudo and the stock standard. Lower defense, Gen.G, Golden Token, and you have Mozi with the Cannon Blast stunts.
Yeah, I love that counter pick. I mean, these guys playing just like next level, you know, in terms of the draft of just being able to just kind of outclass them. Trying to use that Agudo to kind of, again, counter that Ogrin. But going into this one, look, whenever you see A.G.A.L on the Ogrin, you're always kind of worried. I mean, for the other teams, because he's very good. He's able to get that farm. I mean, the KDA for him, the amount of deaths that he's had, even in those 2 games thus far, has been like less than 5 across 2 games. He's been very good. He usually stays alive, and he's able to farm.
I'm not sure what I feel about the Nova Esports lineup. Because, okay, look, once again, we obviously have hindsight bias, but doesn't a Garo make a lot more sense against a Byron and Allgrin, you know?
Yeah,
because
with
she
shields,
does extra damage based on shield values.
Yeah.
But of course, what's done is done. Now, OG Esports are left with the final pick for their draft. Nova, they pick up the Mayin to try to go and handle this Byron 1v1 in the lane. Another skill matchup for the Clash laners.
So I like this Mayin pick, right, for Zhuan. I think that this is the way you want to go. I mean, the Liu Bang, he had plenty of saves, and it was great, but let the man kind of create that chaos, right? Which he did with the Dharma. I think that you got to go back to his playstyle. Like, Zhuan has been the guy that you want to, like, shine for you. Give him something that he can really shine on.
Okay, but the way that this composition works for OG Esports, they're going to be quite spread out until they find that killable moment. And on the side of Nova, that puts the Mayin, which is going to be piloted by Xuan, in a very risky position. I mean, they're looking, all right, Nova Esports, this is the game plan for them. The setup will come for the Mozi. They want to get the stun from Gen.G. Hopefully that sets up Wendy, who is one of the best mid laners in KWC, to be able to get those blades down. And for Nova Esports, here's the challenge. Kill on, I think you win the fight. But if you can't, you get destroyed.
Yeah, it's going to be up to that, right? I think it's going to be key on this one. I mean, look, if we're looking at this draft, though, who are you giving the edge to in this final game of the series?
That is a very unfair question, because take a look at these 2 teams. There is no black and white with this team. They are a gray line. Anything can happen. There is many outplay potentials, because if you're taking a look at, hey, is there disruptions for Mozi's ultimate? Is there a catch available for the Gun and Mo and Gen.G, or even the Agudo? There is. That is open and a chance for OG. Likewise, on the side of Nova, is there a chance they can snipe down members like Wen and An and Mucha and A.G.A.L before they even get the fight started? Yes, there is. This comes from Wendy. Too many things to consider.
Yeah. Okay. I asked definitely a loaded question. It was definitely not fair to you in that regard. But on this Flowborn, Marksman hasn't had the greatest win rates. I think it's won 1 or 2 times already at the KWC, but it's been picked like 8 or so times. It has not been great. Your thoughts on this hero, though?
I think it's okay. It really is a comparison of combinations now instead of a single player anymore. And this is what you're going to notice as we head into the higher tiers of KWC, right? In this game for Nova, my eyes are on Wendy and Waypit. Can he land a stun so that Wendy gets free hits?
Yeah, free hits and free kills, right? Once Wendy starts doing that damage, I think there's going to be, you know, it's going to be huge for Waypit to really set the tone with those cannon blasts, getting those initiations off.
Yeah, gonna get that first neutral objective at the bottom. So that's a big win. In series like this is a big win.
You'll take anything at the end of the day. I think that's going to be great for them. Now, Nova Esports, you're putting the pressure onto An. Okay, like, look, Flowborn Marksman, not a hero that we've seen too often. I mean, obviously, it was just released kind of soon, or recently, excuse me. An versus Muchi, who are you giving the edge to in this one?
I'm definitely giving it to An, based on a hero kit, right? Because Muchi will not be able to touch An as easily. And also, the setup coming in is pretty even. Muchen and Waypit.
Yeah, they're going to be backing off. The stun does actually connect onto 2, though, but they're not going to follow up because it's too close to the tower. DAO, again, given a lot of farm. He's got a 200 gold lead over CY.
Not ideal. CY.
The furball right on top of him. DAO should be backing off, though.
Yep. This game has too many twists and turns because a lot of setup can come from many different players on both sides, right? One can definitely set up a board to be able to get the catch for the team. Kerker has the flash Storm Strike second skill. And let's take a look at Muchen. He also has a stun.
These two have been duking it out in the top lane. Xuan and Keke has been going at it, punching each other in the face. Of course, this is the Clash life.
Yeah, I mean, 1v1, right? Skill matchup. And here we go. This is what I mean. An will get a lot of free hits onto Muji. They're looking.
Oh, they're looking, but Wen is looking to go over the wall. I think he's been sniffed out, if anything, but they find another target, Waypit, with that cannon blast. In return, he misses the first couple blades. Wen gets hit with a second. The reforged blade's not going to connect on that one. He actually stepped into the Venn diagram there.
Okay, and here we go.
The Imperial Order. Here's the flash away and on. Ooh, those blades somehow surviving.
So you can see, right, both teams, they have this very nice setup. Look, CY can set up for the team, Xuan can set up for the team, Waypit can set up for the team as well. And this all then funnels into how does Wendy perform this game?
And look at this, and the fact that like they've been aggressive here, taking away the Crimson Golem, and they're walking away with it. It doesn't look like OG can really do anything on that.
So they balance that steal on that neutral objective on the bottom lane in the farm lane. They take away that Crimson Golem. So OG now in a deficit.
A little bit of a deficit here, but you're slowing down DAO. That's the biggest thing, right? Any sort of farm or any sort of buff that you can take away from DAO, you're going to have a good time if you're able to constantly focus on his farm.
Okay, so DAO, yes, this game is not exactly going swimmingly well for him, but the rush by An has been made through, so Doomsday already in hand on the side of OG An. Now An, this is a percentage health damage item, so you are actually able to melt down tanks.
Yeah, and there's a lot of beef on that side. They want to go in, but here's the unending sorrow. It's going to be used by Muchen. He gets back to safety. Wen is still there as well. He's going to be bladed for his good measure. But now DAO, the big boss, shows up, decides to take all of the farm before he makes his way on out.
This is why they didn't want to engage 4 minutes here. This is the first time of the game. We'll see the big marker of difference. Now it's all about Wendy. There is a potential of a steal. There is more damage than the smite.
Yeah, the blades are not really connecting by Wendy. OG doing a great job of navigating them. Keke is still there. He's got the force field suppression. The board has now been set up. Oh no! Go, but the Tyrant has already been picked up by Muchi. And now OG on the run. The flash away by Keke. He will be fine. Nova Esports want more. They want something, but they didn't look like they're going to get a kill.
Brilliant steal. I think DAO missed his smite there. He didn't actually use it now. Nova get a lot of pressure on the T1.
Not a pressure. About halfway in terms of damage there. A little structure damage. Really well played by Nova Esports. Look, it's the little things, right? We're talking about this one, taking that Tyrant and putting that pressure on that mid T1. All in all, in overall favor of Nova Esports.
It truly is. So here are the options you have during the Tyrant take, right? In this 4 minute mark. If you lose the Tyrant, one of the things you can consider doing is to go and steal the buffs on the side of Nova. But Nova, knowing this, they have actually cleared their jungle timings and gotten the rotation out of sync. from OG. So there's no reward.
Yeah, and this is why, again, Nova is very strong in terms of just understanding the way to play across the map, taking things away. If you're in the enemy jungle, A.L is he's gonna be there, but some of the stuff is gonna be stolen, right? You're not gonna be able to get going. You have a jungle route, and if it's gonna be, things are gonna be stolen off of that route, you're gonna be slowed down in general.
Exactly. You want to keep on pace. You want to keep on schedule. And this is why good teams are great, because they dictate your schedule.
And it looks like the top T1 is going to be under siege. Muchi's there. Nobody's there in response. And look at how Waypit is all the way in the enemy jungle. If any rotation were to happen, it would be scouted out long before he would even go to the top lane.
So vision control. This is why you want to take control of objectives, open up the map, so you can hide in brushes. And now, A.L, he's going to try.
He's going to just be a little bit of a feint, a little bit of a push, but he's a level behind CY who's doing the work. Cannon Blast just barely missing A.L. He's going to survive, as well as those Reach Force blades. Yes, it's on cooldown. Nova Esports still sticking around the mid lane.
I think this is a very scary situation for both teams. Look, the mid laners, once again, in this game will decide the future of fights.
Yeah, Muchen on the return, on the retreat, excuse me. They're going to be backed off, but they find that the enemy jungle is barren in this case. They're not able to find any sort of value, but here's the Crimson. CY taking a decent amount. Keika was looking for that wraparound. He's looking to go for this one. Juan gets over the wall. He's in the Tyrant pits. Finds the force field suppression from Keika. It looks like Nova Esports still on the retreat.
Yep, they're going to put pressure on this Azure. The board has been laid out. They want Wendy.
They find Wendy, and Keika goes right in with that Storm Strike and finds first blood, and it looks like he's going to be traded away. A.L just way too deep. Muchen is going to be killed as well, and they make him them pay. And Muchi now on the run. Keika just trying to stay alive. He's not going to get so.
So a lot of difference in terms of synergy, or at least in terms of the hive mind mindset for OG. It was a good attempt, but Nova just better as a team in understanding and alignment. So they make it out of that team fight.
Nova Esports taking away the buff and putting the pressure on. The bottom T1 is under siege now. Muchi is already there. Nova Esports angry with the last game, as you can see that they're really taking the fight to OG here.
So let's take a look at the replay. They actually split the fight, and one thing I want you to notice, they committed quite a bit to get to Wendy, but because of the delay of Muchen's ulti to save his jungler, A.L took a fall. If A.L had survived there, I think they would have made a big difference in the fight, but because of the lack of manpower, and the fact that Muchi is able to free hit with no worry, Nova wins that fight hands down.
Yeah, like why would you continue on? You already got that kill. You had first blood, and A.L was in a bad spot. He was stuck between the rest of the members of Nova, and he got kind of pinballed around, and they made him pay. So OG Esports, like, you had that moment. Again, hindsight is 20/20, but you probably should have backed off at that point.
For sure. And now Nova going to get the punish. But
they find Muchen, the unending sorrow on back. The Storm Strike just trying to stay alive. A.L with the Conductor of Souls, but the blue buff has already been taken away. Nova Esports putting the aggression on, and it looks like, again, Nova Esports taking what they want and getting away scot-free.
And they're unpunished because OG is looking like a mess at this point. The synergy is not there. They're not getting the timings right. And Nova, they're happy that this is happening. And Nova is showing you what you must do when you have the lead. You have to take control of their resources, take control of the turrets, and get vision for yourself.
But the reason for that is because Nova is putting the pressure on. They're dictating the pace. They've been like choosing when the fights are actually looking to happen. And it looks like it's going to be the Crimson Golem. They're looking to go for the seal. And CY smites it and gets away again.
Yeah, I'm just keeping my eyes on An because An has not been a comfortable position at all. He has not.
And the Cannon Blast Reforged Blade combination, and he gets decapitated.
Yeah, it was OG that was looking, but it was Nova that got rewarded.
Nova Esports still on the assault here. The bottom T2 potentially going down. They're going to focus their attention on the mid one instead.
Big performance by Wendy here. Now, Wen does have the board. He needs to open up the map for his team.
Keika, look at it, just defend. He's in a bad spot. Beautiful. He flashes back onto that tower. He will be there, but the mid T2, not as fortunate. It goes down.
So they have learned from the mistakes of game number 2, right? Nova playing this very cleanly. They are not impatient. They're looking to just slowly take down the layers of outer turrets.
Yeah, it's like peeling an onion, right? Layer by layer. Let's not go impatient and try to take 10 layers at the same time. We need to go slowly and surely, and we're going to be able to take it out. And look at how OG are responding. They're trying to farm, but they're literally fighting for scraps.
Exactly. I mean, if you tear too many layers of onion, you will start crying.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes. Speaking from experience, it's happened to me. I don't know why. I was like crying uncontrollably at one point. But here's the Shadow Tyrants. This is going to be a great start for Nova Esports. And again, with Chuan pushing the bottom lane, this is going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, he is providing so much information. It's look, the objective taking speed on the side of Nova is scarily fast because CY is there with the increase in attack speed. Right now, if they can find a nice stun from Waypit, it's the end of the game for OG.
Yeah, that's one cannon blast, but it's on the Kuka, not the greatest target. If they're able to find like an Honor Wen, you're going to have a great time. Nova Esports with these blades, so annoying by Wendy, just tenderizing DAO more than anything else. But this bottom T3 is where they want to go. Waypit is still on the side. They have that wild growth, and they're going to potentially go for this one. But Wen with that passive, he does stay alive. On Ending Sorrow on back by Muchen, he's going to try to stay alive as well. Chuan with the flash back into safety, and it looks like Nova Esports not able to take the bottom T3.
Yep, they were showing shades of game number 2. They were prepared to overdive once again, but Nova, they know about the power of restraint. They will use it on looking.
Oh, the Aerostorm doing a little bit of work here. CY still up in front, and now with this next minion wave, they're going to look to put pressure on this mid T3. They need to be objective focused, take down these towers.
The difficulty is KWC can't find anyone.
Like, they're so tanky, or, you know, CY has just always been that frontliner. I don't want to be there.
It's about the positioning. KWC is not allowed any entry point because there is a backup, a safety net for the rest of the team on the side of Nova. So until KWC finds an opening, or when finds an opening, OG are stuck in this position.
Yeah, Nova Esports already learning the lessons of Game 2 and implementing it into Game 3 here, playing very smart, taking what they can. It looks like they're going to be backing off, taking the Overlord, realizing that they have a lead. It's just a matter of them potentially throwing this game more than anything else, but instead they're going to go slow and steady.
They need to set something up on the side of OG. Art is not finding any value in this game at all. But Nova, if you're a Nova fan, this is perfect for you.
This is great situation. It is their game to lose. They're in the driver's seats, and they find KWC to kind of start things off. That wild growth is still there, but DAO looking for that farm. Looks for the wave clear more than anything else to keep these T3s alive. Muchi was doing a little bit of damage on the top T3. A cheeky guy in that sense, but they got the stun. The unending sorrow. Muchen does get back to safety, but again, they're going to focus their attention on the top T3. It does go down.
Okay, it's a reverse of history here. They get the T3 on the top with a Shadow Overlord and Vanguard flying down the bottom. This is another opportunity for Nova to break more structures.
It's going to be a great siege indeed. Nova Esports just pushing them back, understanding the limits. CY still up in front with that furball, but Waypit taking a little bit of damage. They have the board, but DAO just barely gets away. The T3 is again not as lucky. All of the T3s have gone down. Furball onto On. They want to decide to go for this one, and KWC with that force suppression, he's going to be backing off. Muchen is at about half life, and Nova Esports whittling them down. They have the Shadow Vanguard tanking, but it doesn't look like Nova Esports want any more.
The power of knowledge, the power of restraint. Nova, they have this game in full control. It is a Baron base for the side of OG. 13 minutes into the game, Nova are looking very strong.
I mean, they have only 4 kills, but they've been so focused on the objectives. They've taken the fight to OG. OG have not been able to kind of climb back in this game. There have been 0 openings. They only have a bottom T1 and that kill.
They have nothing to offer at this point. It's a 8,000 goal lead. In fact, I think it's 9 at this point for the side of Nova Esports.
Nova Esports, full control. OG not able to get DAO going. He is falling further and further behind, down 2K to CY, and there's a reason why this Agudo is like the counter pick to the Ogren.
But the timing is of the essence. We're 14 minutes in. Nova, they cannot afford to play around as well. Late game, there is a chance that Wendy might get bursted down.
Might be a chance, but we might not even get a later chance than this one. DAO still up in front. CY decides to go in, finds KWC with that force field suppression. CY taking a decent amount of damage. It looks like they're going to go for this one. The passive keeping Wen alive. No, he's going to be shut down. Chuan still up in front. 3 members down from OG already. And with that double kill from Muchi, they're looking to close this game. And OG Esports are win Game 3 in this series. They will be the #1 team.
Yep, that's a perfect performance for the side of Nova Esports. And with that victory, they seal their place in pool #1.
What a great game by Nova Esports, understanding just how to just push them back, playing their game. And there's the reason why they're the Season 3 champions, being able to constantly put the pressure on. OG really didn't have any answers. They could not get DAO going.
Not only that, they could not get Arn going. I hate the beat of one. The point is out, but Arn did not have a game at all.
Yeah, not a good game. No space, right? Nova Esports was just constantly just like putting the map control on and just pushing them back, taking everything from them.
And okay, so as you